Good afternoon, and welcome to IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station. I'm Ms. B, and welcome into my garden. I'm calling this hour Come Into My Garden, my third show, and I will be buzzing around several conversations today. But before we get started in the garden, I want you to come in, find a place, and I want you to sit and relax. Get comfortable. Start not thinking about anything in particular. Yourself. And I want you to breathe in a good breath. Breathe in the energy that will energize yourself. Then exhale it and exhale anything that is not serving your highest good. Breathe in one more time for me. One more time. And exhale. Now, we're relaxed and we're ready to go. First of all, let me say, belated Happy Father's Day. It should be every day, but I'm saying it because yesterday was the day. So, to all the fathers here and our ancestral fathers, I say thank you. Today, it's going to be a little potpourri. I don't have a guest today, so you'll be with me. And I'm going to be talking about our buds and finding that place that makes us comfortable and relaxing. And I'm going to start out with a poem that I wrote. I stretch myself to be a light that all can see, that was given me throughout eternity. My spirit has waited far too long to awaken the bee in me, the bee I am and always should be. She moves in grace, a star borrowed from the stratosphere, gold dust weaving through the sinews of our beings, touching our very fibers so as not to forget to the core of all creativity, beauty, and love. Shine on, sister, shine on. Your brilliance is the light of God. Okay, that's just one of the little things that I wrote. I hope you enjoyed it. Day. Well, no, this was like maybe yesterday, but when I was coming in, it occurred to me, I can't play music. And, music is like rock of my soul. But I can shine a light on some of the words in the music that I love. And a song struck me today by the Isleys. I've heard this song forever. They've been around forever. But the song is In the Dark. And I know you all know it. But there was a line, I swear I had never heard this line before. It said, down corridors, wondering what might have been. I heard that and I went, oh, excuse me, I'm talking about. And that's kind of the theme of what I will always be talking about. It's we have to be in the present. We have to be in the now. Of course, they hold many things, but we don't let those corridors rule us. We don't let those corridors stop us. We get what we need from them and keep it moving. A lot of people that they get to a point where such and so happened, they can't get any further. True. There is never a time when you cannot move forward. I was speaking with someone earlier who was going through some stuff, and it occurred to me. I said, you're alive, right? You woke up this morning, right? And we started naming things that could be blessings that they could. And there were many blessings that they were healthy. They were they dressed nice, they had a car, they had a roof over their heads, they had a bed to sleep in. I mean, we take for granted all the blessings that we have when we let keep us from reaching our highest good. And because it was Father's Day, it became very relevant to me. I was in church, and the young people, they to the pastor and gave him Father's Day greetings because he is their father in church. And one young man came up and he said, I'm not with my father in the flesh, but you are my father of the heart. That touched me so much because there are so many men taking care of children, young people that are not their blood because they're people. You do not always have to be the blood of the blood to love someone. Sometimes you get more love outside of your family than you do from within. So I'm really grateful for all of the men that stand up and look after and take care of young people. And there has to be more of that because with everything, with all the appearances that we have today of our young people, more men to stand up and say, I got you. Kind of man to stand up and say, I got you. Now, as I was thinking about this in the corridors, I got to looking down my corridor and I realized there isn't much. There isn't anything that I regret because what good would it do? It happened. I made the choices and look where I am. I'm talking to you. One corridor that I looked down today was back in the 70s. I went on a week's vacation city and I was, like I said, just going for a week's vacation. However, my son told me, said, mommy, you're going to stay there and go to work. I said, no, baby, I'll be back in a week. My intentions. I got there and my girlfriend Pam and I were hanging out and walking around and somebody said, maybe it's time for you to stay here. I said, as far as my theater, which was what I wanted to do. So the place to be would have been New York. So I called home and my dad answered the phone, which was a good thing because my dad was a little more supportive than my mother would be. What I wanted to do, he said, well, do you have any money? I said, well, I have this $300 that I gave to mom on my life's debt. Money that all of us children owe our parents from years. I gave her $300 on that life's debt. So he said, well, I'll send it to you. I said, okay, thank you. Then I got my son on the phone and I said, remember when you told me that I was going to stay in New York? Well, it seems that I am. I'm going to stay here for a while and see what I can do. Now, this is what that 3-year-old boy said. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. My son, when he was young, he had that sight and he could see things before they happened. And this was one of those times when it seems like he was right on the money. I stayed in New York for almost 7 years. I didn't do much stage work. I did one show, which was an off Broadway show. I did temp work, and that temp work took me to ABC News Network. I went back and forth with them, and it got to a point where I wasn't getting much temp work, and I was starting to run out of money. So I said, well, I think I'm going to go home and try and gather me up some more money so I could come back. But I knew in the back of my head that if I got home, because the pressures would have been too much. I did have a son at home. The guy that I had worked with on my last job at ABC, and I said, ready to go back home. And back then, you could do a thing called share a ride. I didn't even have enough money to fly home. I was going to share a ride in a rental car, which would be taking it back to its destination. 3 or 4 people get in the car and you share that ride back. And that's what I was going to do for like $30. Well, where are you? I've been looking for you. I said, look, if I come back, you have to get me on full time. I can't do the temp anymore. They worked it out. And that's how I got a full-time job at ABC News. I was in the accounting department, uh, which I had done some accounting work before I had gone to New York. So everything that you do, if you're really careful and you look at it, everything that you do has a place in your life. For a while, and as I'm looking around and getting a lay of the land of this news business, because I did not know anything about news except what I saw on TV. And I did not know much about the workings of TV. This was all new to me. So I said, okay, where are you going to go from here? I want to get into production. So I did. I ended up working for a producer in the film editing department. And through that, I went through some history in news that between the years of 76 and 83, so much happened. Just a couple of things. Anwar Sadat was assassinated. Major plane crash in New Orleans. I was on vacation then when that happened in New Orleans, and I called the station and said, "You all need me to go out?" And it said, "Yeah, I'll go out to the remote." So I got to get a paid vacation out of that because I was working. Uh, then the big thing was the Iran. During those 444 days, we gathered so much videotape because back then everything was done on videotape. We gathered so much videotape that it literally filled up a floor that we were working on. And I was in part in charge of keeping all those tapes together and being able to find what was needed when it was needed. It was an exciting time. And I say that because out of that, I became a production assistant on the staff for the show Nightline. I was part of the original Nightline broadcast with Ted Koppel. Was phenomenal to me because it also got me my DGA card, which is the Directors Guild of America. And even in the theater, it crossed all those lines of theater, television, and film. And that was something that I wanted, and I got it. Doing Nightline, assistant, I'm getting all these visuals and working with the show. And there are a couple of things that happened during that time. And died, which was a few blocks away from where our station was. They had to like rework the whole show in it seemed like less than an hour. I'm going to say a couple of hours at the most. And they needed a stage manager. Work as a stage manager for a night. Shows like that, course of history. And here's my story that that was personal to me. We were doing a show on these 2 men in Angola prison in Louisiana. One of the producers had gone down to interview one of the gentlemen, and he came back and he said, "Hey, I just interviewed one of your relatives." I said, "Excuse me? Just interview one of your relatives?" I went, "Okay." So I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. I went down into the control room. I looked at the monitor, and this man was sitting there with his legs crossed. He had a mustache, and I went, "Oh my God, he looked like my dad." And I went, "All righty, this is something that I'm not sure about." So, I got on the telephone and I talked to my mother. Now, dad wasn't home at the time. And then I didn't get to talk to anyone till that next day. But at the end of the show, it's run. Now, my credit didn't run every night, depending on the length of the show. Well, that night, my credit ran. It was my name there, but his name was there as well. And that was like, okay, God, you're really working some stuff here. I left in 83 and I came back home because the things that I thought I really wanted to do were in film and stage. And I believed that I had just run my course with the news department. And I'd been away from my son for a while, and I just thought it was time to come home. But that corridor for me was one of the most enlightening parts of my life. And I got some really good friends and associates out of that. And there isn't anything that I would change about that. I'm going to stop here for a break and on IntellectualRadio.com, an iHeart station.
Take a real good look in the mirror. What do you see? If you cannot answer that question, be encouraged to do something about it. Be encouraged to make a change in your life and your career goals by becoming a licensed barber. Do something that you've never done before, or something you've always wanted to do, or finish what you've already started. All of these things are possible at McCoy Barber College. The barber industry needs sincere individuals who want to become licensed barbers. If that's you, visit McCoyBarberCollege.net and see how you can change your life by becoming a licensed barber. Or if you prefer speaking with a McCoy advisor, give us a call at 773-221-6700. That's 773-221-6700. McCoy Barber College, where lives change and careers begin.
Welcome back. You know, as I'm buzzing around, I forgot to mention that the lovely flowers in front of me are from Flowers by Joselle, a modern luxe design. And you can find her on Facebook at Modern Luxe and Designs by Joselle. Now, I was telling you about that corridor I was in when I was in New York. Well, another thing that happened, like I said, I was there nearly 7 years, between 76 and 83. Now, a couple of things happened that I did do. I did put together a compilation of poetry from an associate that I was working with, and that was another one of those off Broadway productions. That was from Chicago, and she was the dresser for the Negro Ensemble Company. I don't know how many of you remember, but back in the 70s, there was a theater company in New York called the Negro Ensemble Company. And out of that company came some of our brightest African American male superstars, whom I got to see firsthand on a regular basis. I watched the blooming of Denzel Washington, Jackson, Adolph Caesar. If you don't know who Adolph Caesar is, he played Mister's dad in Color Purple. However, he's on since passed on, and he was from Chicago. There was a number of actors when they did the movie Soldier Story. Most of the actors in Soldier Story were the actors that I watched at Negro Ensemble Company. And Soldier Story just happened to be the one that took a lot of them on to their careers. This is an interesting side note for me. Samuel L. Jackson, I'm a pretty good talent. I knew when I saw Denzel that he was going to be a star. Now, Samuel L., I was not too sure about. And it turns out the reason that I had my doubts was because he was having his issues then. He was dealing with substances that were taking him off. Fortunately, he got himself together, and now, he's megastar. There was one show that I saw that GQ put on, and it was televised, and they gave both Denzel and Samuel L. awards that night. That was the first time, to my recollection, that I can remember seeing them in that proximity and sharing that kind of honor at the same time. And I believe it was Samuel L. was on the stage. Just be me, but I do believe I saw him look at Denzel and give that recognition as to look at us now. That's one of those corridors. That's one of those things that you never know. If Samuel L. had stayed on the road that he was on, he wouldn't be where he is now. At some point, he made a choice. He said, This isn't working. I got to do something different." And that's all that I'm saying. Whenever I get behind this mic, that's what I'm saying. And that's what I want you to feel, that there's never a time where you can't make a choice to do something differently. Now, when I came home, things were a little fluctuating because I didn't have that groundwork to do the things that I still wanted to do. I worked for the Better Boys Foundation, and I helped with the theater there. And I did that for a while, but ultimately, things brought me back to McCoy Barber College, to the family business, where I am now. Even with that, creatively, I still got to do some things through the students. I got them to participate in hair shows so that we have a former students that have awards for participating. We have students that they got the even went to Atlanta and said, I can do this in Atlanta. And they did. And they came back with trophies. That's the one thing that I am so proud of the school and its reputation for being able to produce the works that we have produced over the years. There are many things that go on every day. And today, we're going through the appearances of how are we going to get through this? Know something. If you're old enough, you know that no matter how it looks, we manage to get through. The wars that we've had, movement. If you look at the civil rights movement, we didn't know how we were going to get through that. The other side, we had assassinations in America when Kennedy was assassinated. President Kennedy was assassinated. Dr. King was assassinated. Malcolm was assassinated. And then Brother Kennedy was assassinated. It was like, what's going on? You know, our, as we called it was gone into a whole nother awakening. But we survived. Our ancestors came over on those boats, and they survived, because if they hadn't survived, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. I say this only because appearances are, no matter who's in power, if you know your power, you'll be all right. It's only when you allow something to take you where you don't want to go or don't need to go. Things that we're going through now, we're going to be all right because we were made to be all right. The stuff that makes us all right. I wonder sometimes, and that's one of those corridor things, what would have been? I go back and I say, because this is where you are. This is the moment that you're in. I mean, 30 seconds ago, it's gone. Every word that I say, as soon as I say it, it's gone. Step you make forward, hopefully, so that every bud that is in you, that needs nurturing, that needs fertilizing, you come to understand that all you have to do is sit and listen, because all your answers are within you. The universe is made to take care of you if you just sit quietly and listen. Now, I don't mean just sit and listen and never get up. Keep continuing what you're doing, but know that you're on the right road. Even now, with friends and associates whose parents are at a time that I know some people have called it, we become orphans. I don't really like that, but for lack of a better way, yeah, in a way we do. Those bedrocks of ours are gone, then we become the bedrocks. And I'm gonna tell you, it's kind of that's been kind of a pill for me to take, because now, especially on my father's side, I'm the oldest grandchild. Now I've become the elder. I don't like being the elder position. On my mother's side, I still have a couple of cousins that are elders to me, thank goodness. But what I'm saying to any younger person listening is going to come. I know I looked at my parents and thought they would be here forever. And when their time came, it was hard. It's always hard. And it doesn't matter what age, because some of us have lost our parents even at a younger age. There's always someone there to help take care. And that's what we have to be aware of and count on. And I'm not trying to get you to espouse to any particular religion, but I do want you to connect to the universe, because I always think once you're on time with time, nothing goes wrong. And you'll know it. You'll know it. I'm sure there have been times in your life when you were doing something and you were so connected to it, and you were just on your ride as it was supposed to. Somebody said a word and you said, "Yeah, okay, I got that." Or somebody walked into your life, walked into the door and said, "I was just thinking about you." When you get into the rhythm of your life is fun. And that's what it should be. Life should be a joy and it should be fun. All this other stuff that's going on, I don't know how we got to this point. And I guess it really doesn't matter because we're at this point. The thing that we need to be concerned about is how we're going to move from this point. How are we going to make the connections that are going to get us to a level where it's good again? For me, I think things started changing in my generation. Vietnam War. The Vietnam War caused the rift we weren't ready for. We just weren't ready for it. It took away our young men. It put them in a place where they went through unknown catastrophes. And when they came home, we had to try and figure that out. Children from that generation. And those children are walking around now. Not all of them are walking around as well as we would like for them to be. At some point, there is going to be a change. Well, the change is here. I'm not going to say at some point. I'm sitting here talking to you. So that means the change is here. So we just have to keep motivated and moving with that change. We have to bring the beauty and the joy back to life. We are that creation. We are the creators of the joy and the life that is in this world. When they took our ancestors from Africa, the result of that produced My God, you can't live without something that wasn't produced by an African American person. We made this country. We are the bedrock of this country. Know that we are the kings and the queens of the land. I know that there's another people that say they're the chosen people, but I'm sorry. I choose to say that we are the chosen people because think a moment really be accomplished if it wasn't for our lifeblood, if it wasn't for our creativity, if it wasn't for our intelligence, if it wasn't for our compassion. We are the ones. Back, we will talk about our industry a little bit. This is Ms. B on IntellectualRadio.com.
A licensed barber is a career and an art, one that will always allow you the freedom of choice and an opportunity to reach your goals. McCoy Barber College offers a focused 1,500-hour course in barbering, and when completed, you qualify to get a license by the state of Illinois as a professional barber. The barber industry needs sincere individuals who want to become licensed barbers. Now, if that's you, visit McCoyBarberCollege.net and see how you can change your life by becoming a licensed barber. Or if you prefer speaking with a McCoy advisor, give us a call at 773-221-6700. Someone is available to speak with you right now. 773-221-6700. McCoy Barber College, where legends are created and lives are changed.
Welcome back to the garden. I'm Miss B on IntellectualRadio.com and iHeart Station. Speaking of that, you know, I don't know how many of you listen to V103, but a few months ago, Ramonski Love, he started doing something on the radio that I found very fascinating to incorporate Facebook Live into his broadcast. I got the notice on my Facebook and I opened it up, and there he was talking to us on Facebook. And at the same time, he was managing his radio broadcast. We couldn't hear the music, so he was just reacting according to what people were posting on Facebook. And I watched that young man and I said, look at him. About doing a million things at one time. I have enough sitting here trying to talk and read and keep track of the time, but this young man was able not on the station and still communicate with his Facebook family. And it got me to thinking when the Facebook Live came up, I said, there has to be a way to use this Facebook Live other than just putting it on and say, I'm out here in the park, or hi, this is JoJo, or look at me, just aimlessly using it. I said, there's got to be a way to make this work away. And that comes from my background. I wrote some things down that I ran across. So I'm going to let you know what I did. And this is like my intro into promoting the hair industry or the barbering industry. And it starts off, this is dedicated to the ones I love. I started watching people on Facebook Live and thought there was a way to use it more purposefully. Then a few months ago, like I said, I saw Ramonski Love. So here I am on an iHeart station to you as well on Facebook Live. Hi there. Now I'm going to share my first thoughts to my barber industry family, which I envision doing. Good morning, McCoy fam. First, I was admonished because I didn't give my students a shout out. So to the staff, Miss P, Miss Pam, Ray, and KJ, hey, ladies first, these are my students, Miss Green, Mr. Evans, Mr. Nicholson, Mr. Williams, Mr. Phillips, Chicago, Jose, and Mr. Garcia, and our newest member, JB Jr., who is the son of a former McCoy student. Thank you for holding down the fort. Is your OG Ms. B, coming to you as the Minister of Hair and how to make it grow from the inside out. Broadcasting on behalf of the School of Legends past, present, and to come. McCoy Barber College, located on the corner of 79th and Clyde in the historic city of Chicago, Illinois, and has for 70 years produced many of the professional hair technicians within this industry. I am on a mission to raise our consciousness to the power of who we are in this profession called barber styling, and along the way, recognize who we are as the masters of our own destiny. Going to follow up with this broadcast by posting a survey. What would help you become more prosperous in 2017 and beyond? If the survey doesn't address your needs, please let me know. It is the intention to offer you a way to get what you need to succeed. You already have a license, and if you don't, then get it now. Let's see how we can make it work more better for us all. Share this info. No matter the appearance of today in our world, appearances change because we make the change. Remember, we are the thinker of the thoughts that make things happen. Is we own the power to make the change. You know, just look in the mirror and make that change. This is your OG, Ms. B. You. God's got you in you. I'm going to repeat that. God knows you because God's got you in you. So I'm down with LPP because you know me, love, peace, and prosperity for us all. Let's grow from the inside out. That was my little inspiration when I thought I might be hosting a Facebook Live broadcast from the school. I'm not hosting it from the school, it's from a studio. So you see how God works? You put a seed in the ground, you water it, you nurture it, it begins to grow, and next thing you know, it flowers. Now you can put that seed on stony ground and nothing grabs hold. But if you have the vision in your heart and you see it, you cannot do to bring it forth. You know that old saying, if a door closes, another door will open. For a fact, because it has happened in my life over and over again. For you is for you. And there's no other way to look at it. God always has your back, my back. And when we can know that and feel it in our bones, nothing that we cannot do. I saw I saw the movie The Mummy yesterday. I was because, and we all know the old mummy story. The guy comes out and he tries to resurrect the princess queen. Well, they did a different twist. Only Tom Cruise could figure out some way to try to make another sequel of events that he does. And but in this is my moment of consciousness raising. He was a scallywag. He was out for himself, out to get whatever he could get by any means necessary, pretty much is the way he did it. And it put him in a situation where he should have left things alone. However, he didn't leave things alone. And the situation that occurred took him down a path that he would not have chosen. But even with everything that he went through, path where he changed his consciousness. And he ended up, I'm not going to tell you how the movie ends or anything, but he changed his consciousness and he became a different person. Is that even when you go down paths, as too many of our, especially our young men, have gone down paths that where they think they have no way to recover from, you can always recover so long as you got breath in your body. I had a student like on a case. He caught a case, as they say. And he was going to school faithfully while he was waiting and going to trial and waiting for the outcome. The outcome came, it was not in his favor for a while. When he finished, he came right back to school, did what he needed to do, graduated, went and passed his test, and he got his license. And now he's a very successful shop owner. It's not only his story, but barbering has been that story for quite a few young men. It has changed their lives. Situations where they can send their children to college now. So I'm going to keep on saying, I'm going to beat this horse until you get it. And I know some of you do. I know some of you are right there with me marching and knowing that it's all right, that there is nothing and nobody that can change us from reaching our highest ground. Here on the shoulders of ancestors who worked hard and made a way for me and my son, and for countless numbers of barbers that are in the barbering industry now. There is no way that we could ever thank them enough for affording us the opportunity things that we're doing now. My school is probably the only school that can afford you an opportunity to go into debt with a financial aid program. School, get a trade, take your state board, and be a master of your fate. Let me tell you something about how simple this is for me. When I went to school, we had to do 1,872 hours. Once we did that time, we had to go and do not just a written test, but a practical test. We had to do a haircut and a shave. Once we passed, then we went and worked under a master barber for 2.5 years as an apprentice. Completing that, we went back, did another practical and another written test, received our master license. So to all of you that are out there calling yourselves master barbers and you did not do the time, you ain't got the right. Now, I don't get salty about too many things, but I do get salty about folks walking around saying, I'm a master barber. No, you are not a master barber. until you have gone to school, passed, taken your test, and then served some time. Do anything that walks through that door. And that includes a complete shave. Of folks out here now that don't even know how to use a razor because schools aren't really teaching it anymore because there's no one there to watch them anymore. They don't have a practical exam anymore. So you can get out of school and you may never even pick up a razor. We do it the old-fashioned way. And I'm very proud of that. And I'm very proud of the people that have come through our school and have done that. Well, I'm getting close to my time today. I just want you to know that I enjoy sitting here talking with you, enjoy getting the responses that I get from you. And I'm hoping that soon I will be able to, I'm going to have get me a laptop so that I can respond to you on Facebook while I'm doing the show. I want to grow up and be like Ramonski Love. But you'll pray for me that I can do that. Technology, as some of you know, is not always my best friend, but I'm working with it the best I can. And that was something else I got when I was at ABC News. I started working with computers way before Windows came into being. They worked a DOS system. And for me, because you put in those keywords and you found what you needed. With Windows, you don't always find what you need, and it's frustrating, and you want to throw that computer out the window. I mean, I'm just telling you. I respect the technology, and I pray that the technology learns to respect me. To do that, I'm going to get to the point where I can speak with you and answer questions if you have questions for me. And if you do, you can still do that. I mean, you're on Facebook Live. If there's something you want to know, you can ask me the question. I always look at the show, and I will get back with you. If I don't do it in person on the phone with text, I will do it on the show. I want to thank you for coming to my garden today. It's been a lovely day. And this is Miss B signing off. And thank you for being at IntellectualRadio.com, an iHeart station.
A licensed barber is a career and an art, one that will always allow you the freedom of choice and an opportunity to reach your goals. McCoy Barber College offers a focused 1,500-hour course in barbering, and when completed, you qualify to get a license by the state of Illinois as a professional barber. The barber industry needs sincere individuals who want to become licensed barbers. Now, if that's you, visit McCoyBarberCollege.net and see how you can change your life by becoming a licensed barber. Or if you prefer speaking with a McCoy advisor, give us a call at 773-221-6700. Someone is available to speak with you right now. 773-221-6700. McCoy Barber College, where legends are created and lives are changed.